Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're looking at Lucid. Lucid aims to launch a $50,000 EV before the end of this decade. So that will be the end of 2030, so the 2020s apparently. So by 2030, we should have a Lucid EV under $50,000. Truth to be told, there are some EVs out there that are around $50,000 or just under that do sell rather well. I can name a few: Polestar 2, Tesla Model 3, and the Tesla Model Y. Those are some of just a few EVs, just to name the few that do sell rather well, despite being just between $40,000 to $50,000. Granted, certain places in America, certain places in the US and Canada, you get the Tesla vehicles and they get a huge amount of discounts, tax discounts, government discounts. So these are like subsidiaries. So that's actually really, really interesting to look at. So will Lucid be eligible for a similar kind of thing? Also, I think Lucid, based in a car around $50,000, it's rather good for the brand. I think Lucid is a luxury brand. There's no doubt about that. So I don't think there's anything wrong with Lucid targeting a similar market to what Audi does. Audi is known for creating luxurious cars. They've always created luxurious cars, premium cars, I would say. Well, Mercedes create luxurious cars, BMWs create sporty cars, and Audi creates elegant cars, cars with elegancy. So you have the three German companies right there. They all create premium cars, but they're all premium in slightly different ways. Suddenly you have Polestar competing with Porsche, and Polestar wants to compete with Audi, Mercedes, BMW, and Tesla to a smaller count. Of course, Tesla will create millions of cars a year. Polestar isn't looking to do that, to be honest, and I completely understand. Polestar cars need to be premium, and they need to have a high price, like a Porsche. That's the idea. Now, Volvo, the parent company, on the other hand, they can create a car for like 30 grand, 25 grand, 35 grand. In fact, they just did the EX30. That's what, like 30 grand? That'd be a 30 grand or 35 grand car. That's perfect. And it's also a mid-size SUV, a small SUV, like a baby SUV or an SUV coupe. It's perfect for the market. They're going to love that car in the US. They're going to love that car in Europe. They love that car in Asia as well. That car will be a great thing for Volvo. Volvo is there to compete with Tesla. So having Lucid creating a car around $50,000 makes a lot of sense because there's a huge market there that they can compete with. Lucid has already created great cars with the Lucid Air. It's an extremely amazing car, interior, exterior, and not to mention performance and range. They've proven that they can create cars that are absolutely incredible. Now, can we take that similar technology and put it in a car that's slightly cheaper? Let's be honest, Lucid Air cars are not exactly cheap. They're extremely expensive cars. So taking similar technology and placing it into another EV that's slightly cheaper at around $50,000 or cheaper than $50,000, it's actually perfect for the brand because it's not too cheap that it will degrade or decrease the brand's overall value, but it's also at that sweet spot for a lot of people who are looking to buy EVs or just looking to buy a new car. That's a good market to target. If I was Lucid, I would perhaps do the exact same thing because let's be honest, it wouldn't make a lot of sense for Lucid to create a car costing just around $25,000. That doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't make any sense because they're known for being this luxurious premium automaker. That would kind of be like if Apple created an iPhone just around $300. They used to, like 10 years ago. First iPhone created like over a decade ago. That was around like $500 initially. And I remember like iPhone 4, iPhone 5. Apple was actually creating iPhones like iPhone C, those colorful iPhones. And those were meant to be the cheap iPhones, but they completely canceled them. And that's mostly because they realize that they're not a cheap brand and they don't want to be a cheap brand at all. They understand that they're not limited to how many iPhones they can sell. People will buy iPhone if it's 300 or if it's 1,000. But what's the point selling an iPhone to someone for 300 when the same person will pay $1,000 for an iPhone that's even better, slightly built better material? So Apple realized that really and truly, there's no point in creating cheap phones. Not right now. It just doesn't make any sense. So that's why Apple is in a perfect place in the market. Not every company, smartphone company, can do that because it's brand value. There's something about walking around with an iPhone that people really appreciate. There's something about driving a Porsche. People really appreciate it. You know, it's not a Ferrari, but it is a Porsche. And people, it's significantly cheaper than a Ferrari, but still, people really appreciate it. And that's because they stick to what they do best, and they stick to that luxury market. They stick to that premium market, and I think it'll be a great thing to see Lucid go forward with this. So let's read into this a little bit more. The Chief Executive Officer, Peter Rawlinson, has revealed that it's his goal to launch an EV in the $50,000 range that will compete with the likes of the Tesla Model 3, just like I said, and the Tesla Model Y, just like I said. Not to mention the Polestar 2, he should not forget that, and the Polestar 4. Now those, he'll be competing with those as well, especially the Polestar 4. The car manufacturer currently sells and produces just a single model, the Air sedan, and later this year they will unveil a second model, that'll be the Gravity SUV. I'm actually surprisingly excited for that. I've seen some concepts and I understand it will look nothing like the concept because I've also seen leaks and it looks nothing like the concepts. The concept looks better in my opinion. While impressive, both of these vehicles are out of price range for most buyers, and while speaking to ABC News recently, Rawlinson said the automaker had the first launch high-end model before it can turn its attention to more affordable offerings. We had to start with a high-end product. That's the only way I could make the company work commercially, the only way I could make the business work financially to attract investments. Makes a lot of sense. Rawlinson stated, but the technology we're able to develop today and the future technology, that is key to unlocking greater efficiency. Basically what he's saying is that as I build out Lucid to become this premium brand, selling premium EVs, I can create a secondary company, use the same technology to create slightly cheaper EVs. In another way, this is to make money by selling cheaper EVs with a different name tag to the car. So it won't be Lucid. It will probably be something different. If Lucid were ever going to create a $25,000 car, it will not be called a Lucid. They'll have to create a second brand. Just like what Volvo has done with Polestar. They created a different brand to offer the market a different kind of vehicle. So that's something that will be practiced across the industry. Lucid has this amazing technology. They're going to do a lot with it, and I believe in that. And that's basically what he's saying. He also said, I would love to be able to license our technology that can offer manufacturers at scale. Precisely what I was talking about. They've already been offering Aston Martin engines, or motors, I should say. Why am I saying engines? We're talking about EVs, motors. Although you can say an electric engine. I guess you can say an electric engine is basically a motor. The COO went on to say, we are targeting a price, and don't hold me to this, around $50,000. That's the vision, right in the heart of the Tesla Model 3, Tesla Model Y territory. He also said, I wish we could go to a lower price, but it's the best for this company can do in this mid to late decade time frame. What the world needs, of course, is a $25,000 electric car. I think that we can come as a consequence of the technology we're developing today, and we're doing that with a sense of utmost urgency. So they're also considering, in the near future, one day, that $25,000 car is essential. But they're thinking of the most efficient way to do that, to accomplish that, and that's by creating the best technology now, and then finding a way to make it cheaper so they can make that more affordable car for $25,000. But I guarantee you, it will not have the Lucid name on that car. It's virtually impossible. That's like Porsche creating a car and it's $25,000. So anyone could go out to buy it. That doesn't make any sense because not everyone is supposed to own a Porsche. That's why it's Porsche. Not everyone is supposed to own a Ferrari. If everyone owns a Ferrari, I don't want to own a Ferrari anymore. That's the point. And a lot of other people think the same way. So it's virtually impossible that they'll create a $25,000 car unless for some reason their brand identity completely changes. Doing what Audi, Mercedes, BMW has done is not as easy. Mercedes, BMW, Audi, they can create a $25,000 car. In fact, they do. But those brands have carefully created, carefully orientated, carefully curated that in a specific kind of way. And it's not something that can easily be accomplished, especially by today's standards. Lucid might get to the point where they think to themselves, we don't need to create a $25,000 car because the customers who want to buy Lucid, they would prefer to buy a Lucid that is a $100,000 car. So it's better to just offer them the exact same thing that they want. Now, interestingly, Lucid boss doesn't believe that building EVs with high driving range in the future. Instead, he believes that EVs could have battery packs of around 25 kilowatts with 150 miles, 242 kilometers of range. That would be more than enough for most buyers and work well once the public charging infrastructure has matured. You see, that's another problem. This public charging infrastructure is terrible. Not to mention, home charging infrastructure is also terrible, and it's going to get worse. How we're going to solve this is a incredibly difficult task. Not to mention, investing in this area is quite genius because it will become an overwhelmingly populated by EVs, EV charging infrastructure, EV charging stations. Their value will drastically increase in the next decade. By the end of this decade, by 2030, this industry will drastically change and develop drastically different and in quite an interesting way. So that is it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. So Lucid is thinking about all the EVs they can create, a $50,000 EV and a $25,000 EV. What they could look like, I have no idea, but it is very interesting to think about. I think they need two $50,000 EV, a sedan like the Model 3 or the Polestar 2, and an SUV like the Polestar 4 or the Tesla Model Y. And I think they know this. Not everything is clear as of yet. But that is it for today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in our next video.